Well, someone joined the club. Someone got himself a Majohn P140. Let's take a good look at this. So the Majohn P140 was originally a demonstrator pen, but the good people at Majohn have released it in a few different colors, and you can now also get it with a medium nib, which is what this pen has. It's a piston filler. It's a super snazzy green. Kind of looks like the green that Esterbrook SD comes in. Comes with some instructions, which we don't need. And let's take a look at the nib. Look at that nifty doodle. Do. How fancy. Do. I believe this pen has an ebonite feed. Why do you believe that? I don't really know. Because a stranger on the internet told me so. I don't actually know that this is steel. I'm assuming it is. It's gold colored. I don't know. I don't really care. Ink. So this is loaded with Iroshizuku Tsuki-yo. So a lot of people say that Penpps is the best blue. I like how vibrant it is when you lay it on the page. It dries a little less vibrant, which is whatever. But I've been really digging this one recently. It's such a pretty ink. So let's do a little bit of a size comparison. P140. This is an Asvine C80. I'm using that margin on the side of the page. What else do we have? What do we have? Let's do a Montblanc 144. Weird angle. angle to hold that pen, but whatever. And of course, a Majohn P146. This is not inked. 136, excuse me. And this is a Junlai 630. So, you can see there's quite a difference here. The C80 looks more substantial. It's only marginally larger. 144 is dwarfed by it, but this is designed to be a very thin pen. The 136, definitely a scale smaller. Let's take a look at the nibs. Of course, the 136 is a stub, while the new P140 is a medium. You can see they use entirely different sized nibs. I think this is a number 8 on the P130, and this is a number 6 on the 136. I could be wrong about that. I'm not amazing at remembering those details because I largely don't care. I just care that it writes nice and looks nifty. And then, of course, Junlai 630 and the P140 side by side. They have the same size nibs. So the Junlai 630 is a remarkable pen. It really is, especially for the money. This P140, I'm literally just writing with it for the first time. And this nib is fantastic. It's substantially better than my Lamy pens, but as you know, I do not have a great respect for my Lamy pens. I think that they are tragically overrated. This writes better than my Monteverdes. I have several of those. I would say that my Ritma with the 1.1 stub is a smoother writer. But I don't know if I lucked out with just that specific nib or what, but that nib, it's like, I don't know, it's like writing on smooth as glass. So, why did I get this pen? Because strangers on the internet told me to. And for some reason, when it comes to Chinese pens, I've learned to value certain opinions from very specific people who are strangers on the internet, and they said, "Oh, well, you should buy this pen." So I did. I didn't want a demonstrator. I actually don't own a demonstrator. Am I lying to you? Maybe I'm lying to you. Nope, I don't currently own a demonstrator. Have I ever owned a demonstrator? I don't know. That's not even important. Strangers on the internet said buy it, so I bought it. And it arrived fast. I bought it from, I don't know if it was Etsy or AliExpress or Amazon. I bought it from someplace or other. And immediately inked it up and put it down and couldn't find it for 2 days. And so now you get this video. Impressions, I like its weight. I normally, here, take a look at this. A lot of these piston fillers will have two different style windows. You see the green 140 has a, can I actually demonstrate this adequately? That right there is a continuous window. You're seeing the ink inside the pen. The 630 here has a different style. I see a bunch of pickets, basically. I normally go for this kind because it's not as glaringly obvious, but it is. The ink window is a little, I don't know, less featured, I felt. And I generally like that. I didn't even think to look for the P140, if that was a thing or not. But I quite like the finally owning one with a window like this. I find I quite enjoy it. It is somewhat of a distraction. I'm sitting here watching the ink flow back and forth through the window because that's exciting. Is that exciting though? I don't know. Maybe I'm just a boring person. Ooh, the pen guy on the internet's boring. Do I like this more than the 630? I like it more than the C80. I have a couple of these. This one has a stub nib. It was supposed to be a 1.1. I think it's actually like a 0.8 or 0.9. It is not a 1.1. And I was a little upset by that at first because the line it throws down is nowhere near as wide as the line that I would have expected. There were also weird nib tuning issues. This is Colorverse Coffee Break ink. Brown ink and a brown and gold pen. Ooh, who would have thought? You are a stub, I think. Are you a stub? You are a stub. This is a custom ground stub nib on a 630. This is supposed to be a 1.1. I think this is actually more like a 1.2, 1.3. It's not quite as wide as some of the aftermarket nibs you can get for some of the Lamy pens, like the Lamy Safari, Lamy All-Star, Lamy, is it a Joy, which is a dip pen, or a calligraphy pen? I don't remember. Geez, now I really wish this was a stub. But the nib is so pretty, I don't know that I could bring myself to grind it. No, I don't like it more than my 630 with my custom stub nib, or the 630 with the architect nib. I may like it more than the 630 with the fine nib. I normally don't buy medium nibs. I normally, for my primary utilitarian use, is note-taking. Team meetings, work meetings, project meetings, whatever. And I normally like a fine nib for that, but if you have owned more than one pen with the same nib sizes, you'll know that fine doesn't equal fine, doesn't equal fine. And the same is true for medium. From manufacturer A doesn't equal medium from manufacturer B, doesn't equal medium from manufacturer C. There's some kind of an expectation where you might have extra fine, medium, what, broad, we'll say 1.1 stub, This might be 0.3, this might be 0.5, this might be 0.7, 0.8 maybe, I don't know, 1.1. This is largely, in my experience, with the, I don't know, 50 pens. I currently own the, I don't know, 100 plus that I've owned and traded or sold. This is fiction. And so, especially if you like the some of the Chinese pens, like the Jinhao and the Junlai. Asvine, I think, is Chinese. Who else? Oh, Majohn, the pen in my hand. Jinhao, I think, is the biggest offender of this. We have extra fine, fine, medium. The medium on my Jinhao, what was it, a 9019, I think, originally, wrote thicker than the broad nib on a different pen that I owned. The medium on this Majohn writes about the same as the fine on my Jinhao X159. 159, 156, 159, whatever. The medium on my C80, my blue C80. Is that here? Here it is. Is this blue or is this green? This is green. This medium nib writes about equivalently to this Majohn. I don't know why I'm looking up both these nibs. My eyesight's not good enough to see anything particularly different. But the line that was thrown down is roughly equivalent. The line from my Jinhao medium nib was substantially larger. This 144 has a, is this a medium nib? I can't see it. I don't have a magnifying glass. I'm not even sure if it's marked. I can't see it. Anyway, whatever this is, it's a hair. The difference is minute. Minute. And then I have this turkey, which is a, I think, medium nib as well. Let's see how this compares. No, this is a fine nib. So it's half the width. So you never really know what you're going to get with nibs, though. And unless you stick with a specific manufacturer or use one of the, I don't know, like the Sailors or the Pilots or the, Montblanc, I don't know, major manufacturers, they might adhere more to a specific actual standard. But when you start especially getting into the custom ground nibs of the world, like, I don't know, custom architect nibs like what this pen has. Let's get in close on this. Can you see it? Maybe. I can't see it. Yeah, I can. So this is actually an architect nib. And when you start getting into nibs like that, I don't know. You're either someone who seriously cares about the line you throw down on the page, or you're someone who doesn't really care about convention and just wanted a somewhat different writing experience. But anyway, we have diverged dramatically from our Majohn P140. this is a pretty sweet pen. I don't remember what I paid for it. I enjoyed it. I will be enjoying this pen. This is not going to eBay. And do I think you should buy one? I don't know. Make your own minds up. You're the boss of you. Take what I say with a grain of salt because I am a stranger on the internet. And that's that. Let's get a pretty little picture here for the thumbnail and doo-doo. All right. Stay in school, blah, blah, whatever. Bye.